Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to yet another episode of Matitude, your ESC United live stream podcast, whatever you want to call it. I hope you had a lovely week. The busy national final season has come to an end, and we have arrived. We have all 37 songs that have been released, and I think we're all ready for the next stage of this amazing journey called Eurovision 2023. Once again, my name is Matt, in case you know it, here at ESC United, and we're going to do things a little differently today. Of course, we're going to talk about the Eurovision news of the week, discussion, analysis, and all that stuff, but I haven't done this before because I have only listened to 35 out of the 37 entries so far. I was busy this week. So, Armenia and Georgia, the last two songs that were released this week, I have not listened to. So, I figured let's do this live in just a moment and you get my honest reaction. I know a lot of you, if not most of you, all of you have listened to it already. I have not. So, hopefully, it's going to be good because you want to end on a high note. Of course, Armenia, notorious for being one of the last ones to release their songs, was Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia, with Azerbaijan releasing it first out of those three. And that one I listened to already. I did a video on that. So, that being said, before we jump into it, just a few housekeeping items I wanted to address. As always, if you are in our chat while we're live, talk to us at ESC United. So I know it is directed towards me. And today's actually a pretty big day. I just noticed that earlier, exactly 3 years ago, March 18th, 2020, was when the EBU announced that the contest, the Eurovision Song Contest 2020, would be canceled. The first and hopefully last time that a contest would not take place. I remember that happening, me crawling out of bed, because again, I was 9 hours behind in time zone and just seeing the news, and I was just so deflated. And I still haven't truly recovered from that just yet. But yeah, so hopefully we'll never ever have to experience something like that again. But I was just thinking about it. That was a big milestone. As always, if you want to follow us on ES United a lot, it's going to happen. First of all, I am going to be in Barcelona next week for the Barcelona Eurovision party. So if you're around, hit me up. We're going to have probably extra live streams on site to discuss what's going on and just have a little chat. Me and Melanie are going to be there. Then there are other events, Eurovision in concert, the London Eurovision party, where we'll have folks on site as well. So it's going to be definitely um, busy. And yeah, as always, follow us on all the social media websites. And we also have a forum on ESC United where you can talk to me and others a lot. We have a Discord server, you name it. So hopefully you will be around. So I think we should jump right into it. As said, we have Armenia and Georgia. They have released their entries this past week. And we already knew that Brunette would represent Armenia. And then we had the singer that I just forgot the name of in Georgia. So I'm looking that up right now. It's a very short name. Iru. I wasn't say Ira. That's why I'm like, it's not Ira, it's Iru. And she won The Voice in Georgia. So she wasn't technically internally selected, but the song was internally selected, not the singer. In Armenia, both the song and the singer came from, internal decisions by the broadcaster. So let's start with Armenia because they were first in line, and then we move on to Georgia. And please bear with me. I've never done this live before, so if I click the wrong buttons, don't judge. So let's first put on my headphones, and I will probably cut out this snippet as well for my actual separate video. I may have to change and edit some stuff, but for now, let me bring up the stream. Oops. I did have it ready, but I'm always so scared to hit the unpause button. I don't want to have it spoiled. So I do have the ability, of course, to pause it and whatnot. And let me go here. Okay, so if there are no further questions in the chat, I will go ahead and hit play. have my finger ready.
I just wanna make art, read books, and just find someone who likes me enough to kiss my face.
I expected a bop, I'm not going to lie. I think she's faking us out, though. This is going to pick up shortly. I don't believe you. It's pretty. Okay. It's way slower than I anticipated, that's for sure. But we don't all just have booty shaking songs. I still think it's going to pick up. Okay. And here it comes. I knew it. Oh, wait, actually, I was wrong. Oh, it's a pretty ballad. I don't know. I just kept thinking it's going to pick up. I didn't believe her, but now I am. She's stunning, first of all, isn't she? Oh. What just happened there? You know what I heard right now? You wanna be good, do good, do good. We wanna be good, do good, be good. Now, this is a story all about how my life got turned flip upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there and tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. That's just the vibe I've got, and nothing wrong with that because I love that song. But this was very out of unexpected. So, wow. Okay. It became very aggressive. So once again, the theme of the year is 3 songs in 1, right? And I think we're getting that from here as well. But yeah, let me hit that thing again. This is just very unexpected. Oh, don't fall. Oh, this is very aggressive. This gives you an emotion, right? Even though it's rap, and rap and I don't get along usually. Wow. From an artistic perspective, this is quite impressive. Okay, so it is certainly picks up. This has live staging potential, because this could be so grand. Oh! Oh, why can't you do everything in Armenian? Oh, goosebumps. You can see because I'm wearing a sweater. Oh. Oh, what a grand ending. That's how you end a song. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Ooh. Let me take a deep breath first. I very let's move that. I am very surprised about this one. I was at first, there was this internal unfair disappointment because for some reason I really wanted to have a fun, upbeat song, but you cannot hold that against her. The beginning, very pretty, and once again, what I love about just this year, in the past couple of years, this trend about staying away from schmaltzy lyrics. I love the content of the song. And whatever you may think your personal preference of music, I think lyrically, this is really, really good. I was thrown off by the rap part, and this will be hit or miss. It could either be an insane moment live and people will just fall off out of their chairs, or they just feel an absolute disconnect between the ballady, quiet part and this very dramatic, sudden, unexpected boom. And it's a risky choice. And for that alone, Armenia, I give you a round of applause, because you should always take a chance. It doesn't mean you always have to, but if you have that thinking, let's send something safe that people will like. You lost already, probably. Here, you could go either way. I mean, I could see this one going really far. It may also drown and people just won't get it, right? But at least you can say we went all out and we tried. Because honestly, I'm torn on this one. I couldn't say honestly, in terms of personal taste, it's in the middle right now for me. However, I am withholding final judgment on this one particular because just think it's Eurovision night. You're putting yourself in front of your TV with a bucket of popcorn or whatever your preference is. And then this comes on with amazing staging. And it could be a moment. This is a feel. This is an emotion. This is raw emotion, the song. And if this is done correctly, um, that could be quite a moment. But again, it could also completely just miss the mark. Um, I will say I do like the third part the best of the song. I think this song would have been fantastic in Armenian, but I do like the melody with the more dramatic orchestration at the end. So the third part after the rap, that is where the song really gets me, and that's the best part. But it has a very nice build, right? It keeps building and building the very do good, be good, do good, and then it breaks into the French of Bel Air rap, and then it goes the big Armenian. So I think, yeah, I think this is a risky choice. And I think there is a lot of potential between really amazing to this is just falling flat. And we've seen that at Eurovision before, but I applaud Armenia for taking a chance. I think this is a solid effort. And I cannot wait for the actual staging because this is, again, the thing that I say every day or every week this time around. It comes down to the staging. We have lots of different genres and styles, not just the, you expect the Eurovision pop style. We have a lot of risky choices, and a lot of them will come down to staging and vocals and performance. So Armenia falls into that bucket for me, absolutely. I will want to hear now from y'all as well to see what your thoughts were on the song at ESC United in the chat. And Emily is saying, I believe she's coming top 3 of the semi. So that is a pretty bold prediction. And honestly, I cannot fault you for that. I can see where you're coming from. It goes back to what I just said. Could potentially be about all the staging and if the emotion and the energy comes across accordingly. But once again, I'm just happy that they took a chance. And oops, I just had another comment and that one just disappeared. Okay, here goes. Brunette hit 1.4 million views already. I can imagine be good, do good, look good, being merch lyrics. It's true, be good, do good, look good. I don't know what she was saying. I was like, be good, do good, nothing good. That is true, but it still doesn't come across as corny. So I definitely see where they're coming from. The first verse and chorus have been ripped off of random 24 Tumblr posts. Are you really serious? I wish the lyrics were better. Well, here's the thing. I thought the lyrics were good. I just cannot speak to the ripping of lyrics from Tumblr. Then whoever wrote the lyrics on Tumblr, and this is a copyright issue, that's a different story. But I think it was good because, we don't have the desire, fire, high fly, why my kind of. I know my bar is low there when I say that, but I do think that I enjoyed it because sometimes people force rhyming, trying to find a word that rhymes, even though it just doesn't make much sense, or they're just really poor at it. I will never forgive Eric Size Popular, where he used the word warte mal, possible and impossible. Like he used the same word. I'm like, that's the same word. It doesn't rhyme. You use the same word, and it sounds really stupid to me. Yeah. Let me see what others are saying. She failed the lyrics. It should be neat cafes, but she wrote near cafes. Okay, I didn't catch every little word in there, and this is my first time listening. I don't remember even her mentioning cafes. But yeah, we shall see. Ooh, interesting. Frazzle says, maybe my winner in the future gets better every listen. So, kind of what I expected to read, to be honest, now when I hear your comments, because people will either get it or not. This is not a middle of the road safe entry. This has a lot more room for love and opposite of love. I don't want to say the other word. So yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from, and I haven't decided yet either. Is it my immediate number one? Probably not, because it doesn't grab me as much. Maybe that they were intending to grab me. Looking at it, feeling, yeah, thinking back now, even though the ending was grand, I think there needs to be something for the entire 3 minutes that keep me interested, and I get more confused with the rap part. And I'm sure some people love it, but again, I'm the wrong audience maybe for that. That is just very interesting. And very interesting comment from Julie. As someone with mental health issues, I kind of get this randomly anxiety attacks that throws you off your good life. Yeah, I mean, it certainly has that emotion and people can relate to it. I think this could work, but not everyone maybe can relate to it. So we shall see. But nevertheless, I'm just happy that they took a chance, and it's far from the worst song in the running. That's for sure. I just, again, I have a little bit be on the fence here right now. Um, there was another question. The first half of the second semi final is full of great singers. Will she stand out? Honestly, I have not listened to the songs that she has released in the past, so I don't know how great of a live singer she is, so I can't really comment on that. But it's true, we have lots of good singers, and she's in the first half, which we're going to talk about in a moment because I need your help ranking these songs, not ranking, but the running order. But yeah, that is certainly something to take into consideration as well. Is it just me, or are there a lot of televote pleas this year? Because this is another one that will suck up televoters by a lot and do okay with juries. I'm not sure. See, I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I hear what you're saying. I just don't know if I get the televote pleaser vibe from this one because, again, it's a little bit more risky. I think if they would have added more, I mean, they had a little bit here and there, but the Armenian ethnic instruments, I would have probably liked it even better because it would have had more character. What gives a character is the switch in genre and pace throughout the song. And if you click with the lyrical content, then by all means, then it is for you. My boyfriend said this song is missing a little bit as well, like you. Okay, so yeah, personally, I think it's good like this, but I like France and Israel will get revamped. This will get revamped? Are you sure? Did they already announce that? Because they went into the last minute to release it, even though I understand that you can still make slight changes to your entry. Usually, when you release your song this late in, you already are settled and ready for it to be released. So I don't know. We shall see. Do you think Brunette has a chance to win Eurovision? Oh, you're putting me on the spot here, my friend. Um, Based on this particular style and genre, I will not put her as a winner of Eurovision. I don't think it is necessarily enough mass appeal for this one to succeed. And somebody mentioned it's more of a televote pleaser than a jury pleaser. Even though I'm not quite convinced about the televote, I would agree that I don't know if the juries will put it in the top 4 of their ranking, because usually that's where you kind of have to be, right? In order to have a chance at winning. Yes, there could be completely upside down scenarios, but for the most part, you need to be at least within the 175 to 200 point range with the juries in the final. So I don't know if I am quite there yet. So we shall see. But if you just ask me about qualification chances, I have to look at the list now. We're going to do that in just a moment. Um, I think Armenia is absolutely a contender because one thing for sure, it'll stand out, and you want to stand out. Absolutely. So, we can talk about Armenia in just a moment again, but of course, I have another song that was released. So, Georgia was the last country to release their entry. We already knew, as pointed out earlier, that we had the singer Iro. She won the I almost call it national final, but The Voice in Georgia, and that gave her the right to represent Georgia at Eurovision. And then the song was internally selected. This is what they've done a few times in the past, and they continue that tradition this time around. that title doesn't give away a whole lot in terms of what to expect, what style. So I'm going into this completely clueless, and it's the last song of the season. It's kind of sad that we all know them, but also like exciting to move into that next phase. So the last song for me, and before I do that, I probably should bring up the screen. Oh, I gotta move over again. Okay, so I'm looking. Don't spoil it for me. Turn on the lyrics on Georgia's song. You will be amazed. Somebody is saying, but we shall see. I think I have it on. Let me double check. It's highlighted, so I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, are you guys and gals ready? I'm ready as much as I can be. Last song of the night, of the year. What am I talking about? All right, play. Are we gonna get a fun upbeat song, a ballad, or something in between? I didn't hear that last part. Anyway, let me pause this before the next song comes on. I really like this. I really like this. I don't know what else to say. I do think some people said pay attention to the lyrics. I tried in the beginning, as much I don't necessarily think that they necessarily stood out to me as much as I thought they would based on the comments. They don't. I wouldn't say that it didn't make sense, but it certainly didn't. Like I would have to listen to it again to get the complete context there, because it started like a little like what. Maybe this would have been even a better song in a native tongue because the lyrics were just confusing to me from what I saw. But I don't need this anymore. It's the feel of the song, it's the energy of the song, it's the progression of the song that I'm really digging. The drums and how they have some ethnic instruments in there as well. I will say maybe add more to that. Again, I think the song would have been better if it wasn't in English because it is a certain dramatic feel that the song has. And as pointed out, there is some repetitiveness that I would probably subtract a few points from because there are some missed opportunities. They were singing about, that the chorus, na 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 na, and then they do it again, na 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 na, and then a little bit instrumental, and then doing na na na. Yeah, so that could have been on, but for some reason, this could have been a complete and utter deal breaker for me, but it is not because there is a certain, the vibe of the song makes up for it, and I haven't seen her live, but there is potential to really make this a cool moment. And yeah, I just felt it. I just felt the song, and that is just something, that counts for a lot. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Again, at ESC United in the chat. The lyrics spoil it, obviously written by a non-native English speaker. That's what I thought. I forgot who said that in the chat earlier, pay attention to the lyrics. And then somebody said on Twitter as well, I did. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the strongest asset. I felt like there is I thought it was more of a very creative, abstract, poetic approach there. And I'm like, okay, I don't always get poetry. I'm not the most poetic person. And I'm like, I think I'm missing the message here. And now I realized you guys are just pulling my leg. Thanks a lot. And I was taking it seriously. I was like, I don't get the lyrics. Now I feel a little better about that. Let me see here. And yes, agree here. The English is boring, especially with the music. Okay, thank you, Ruben. I felt this way. I think this would have been a better song in a different language, only because it is lyrically strange. Know what I mean? But hey, maybe they'll change it if they'll listen to us, because they can change the language. They don't have to change the song. I think it would just add a little bit more of mystery and feel to it. Had it been in Georgia, it would have been absolutely perfect. The music is strong enough that the weird English doesn't matter, however. That is a very good summary of what I've been trying to say for the last 5 minutes, so I don't even know why I'm doing it. You should be doing this. But no, I completely agree with your assessment of this one, and the good news is at least it's not too late. That is something they could reconsider. Maybe they want to sing it in Georgian and add that mysterious feel to it. I think especially with the juries, this would be, because I have every expectation that Georgia will go through to the finals, right? With the juries, that could be a little bit of a deal breaker. So, Georgia, Georgian team, Euro, if you're watching this or listening to this for some insight or a critique, positive critique, you have a great song. I really like it. Maybe consider changing it up a little, uh, the language. That's all I'm saying. Um, but to be fair, at Eurovision, it used to be where people didn't care about the lyrics, right? That has kind of changed because now the younger folks, in particular, whether it's millennials, Zoomers, whatever, most of them speak English, at least to a certain extent. So it's no longer I can just get away with really odd lyrics and not get penalized for it. In this day and age, it's becoming more and more tricky. Um, but yeah, it is certainly it's certainly still a good song. Let me see here. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Why are people hating on Slovenia? What should be a shock 23? Number one, we're currently talking about Georgia, so I'm not going to go into too much of it. But based on my experience, there's very little hate, more like the opposite towards Slovenia. But we'll talk that about in a moment. Timothy is saying Georgia is my number one. The lyrics make no sense, but the feeling and the energy is so strong. Fair. Both comments or by statements there are fair. I still think it could be even more powerful because you may be able to look past the lyrics. Some people may get stuck on it. And to a certain extent, I'm in that camp. But at the same time, I would also not be too harsh because I just really enjoy the vibe of the song. And one funny comment, I mean, half of the time we can't even hear what she was singing. The sound mixing is way off for the Georgian track. That is true. If I didn't have the captions on, I probably would have missed a lot of it. And sometimes the good thing is, and it goes back to the comment before that, once the song captivates you into the mood and the vibe, and if the staging's going to look great, you almost turn out the weird lyrics, right? So I'm not saying this is going to be a complete deal breaker for Georgia. I just think they could enhance the entire experience of the entry if they were to either fix the lyrics or, even better to me, switch it to Georgian. It's just such a beautiful language. Anyway, Georgia ain't a guaranteed qualifier. Can't see it doing in Armenia 2019. 2019, 20. Oh, it's fair. When I said I feel like it's a qualifier. I just said it based on its own merit, right? I didn't even look at the competition yet. So that'll come next. But yeah, I thought it was a good song. Not flawless, but good. Emily saying, I'd hate Euro to become the next Melvin, a huge fan favorite that flops with juries because of lyrics and enunciation. So, Emily, that is another good point. I have not paid attention to the fan opinion yet because I didn't want this to influence my personal opinion. So what I'm hearing based on your comment is that the fan base really likes it. That's good. I'm happy about that. It is true, and that was my concerns. The English and the enunciation sometimes can rub off the wrong way with the jurors. But at the same time, there are also plenty of jurors who don't speak English well either. So we shall see. But I think that that would be a I forgot my train of thought. Anyways, you're a fan because I'm trying to multitask, bringing questions up. So ARM and GO need to change to native language to qualify. I don't know if I would go completely down that route, but I do think actually it would apply to both entries. I will agree with that. I think that would enhance the song by singing in a language that is non-English. I do think Armenia's lyrics are better. I liked it. Some people didn't, apparently. But I do agree both songs have a certain mysterious vibe to it, right? It's a feel. And I think when people don't have to pay attention to the lyrics as much, even if you try to tune out the lyrics, if they're bad, you can't. I think it would really just enhance the experience. But I still don't think it would be the deciding factor whether one of them will qualify or not. But I just think it would enhance their chances overall. There are all weird places all over the place. This in IMHO from Lorraine to Popo to Georgia to Armenia, blood to glitter being repeated this year. Now, there's a difference between weird lyrics and bad lyrics, right? It is true that Edgar Allan Poe has po, po. And then Finland has cha, 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 cha. But, well, in Finland, they sing in Finglish. They, him. He sings in Finnish, so I don't understand the rest of it, so I cannot really comment on that. But in Austria's case, whether or not I like the song, it's a different story. But the rest of the song has a lot more nifty lyrics. Like it's almost clever. So yes, the po part is probably also my least favorite part of the song, to be fair. But I think there is more to it. But I understand where you're coming from on this one. We do have a lot of, I mean, just the song titles that we have this year are so out of the norm. Water Gun, I Wrote a Song, Blood and Glitter, it goes on and on. So I think that was, kind of the fun part in this case. But in the end, we're over analyzing, of course. People will listen to it once and they will either get it or they won't. But I do think Georgia has potential to grab people immediately despite the lyrics. That is the point I was trying to make. So I have all the songs in now. That means we can talk about it in just a moment. I mean, I have this. It's a long show. I think we should move on to the next topic, and that is a more interesting one for me in particular, because I'm not sure if you saw, but I did a video a few days ago where I predicted the running order of Semifinal 1, and I felt pretty good about it. I did that offline, of course, so I figured now we got to do the second semifinal. Why don't we do it together? I think that would be a lot of fun. I haven't done that before, so while I'm doing that, bringing up I created a very cheap and unimpressive impressive Excel sheet here, or the cheap version of it. Let me actually switch this around here in a second. Now I'm still in the way. Now I'll figure it out. Trust me. There you go. That's better. So we have 16 songs in the running, and as you can see, the first 8 songs are in the first half. I hope I didn't miss anything. And the other 2 are second half is below. Let's try to figure it out. Now, I will do my ranking, but I may need your help in certain cases. So don't yell at me if you don't agree with mine. And I will say, first of all, this is Semi 1, I felt good. Oh, yeah, these are good flow. This could work. Yada, yada. And then Semi 2, I'm like, might as well just pick numbers out of a hat. This is so difficult. Like, how do you even do that? Like, I don't know. This one. So this one will probably completely different outcome. But let's do this real quick. So obviously, as you can see, these are the 8 songs that will be in the first half. Let me just put that here. So the first song I will put in, and that's the only one I feel comfortable. Like this is the only one I feel like it's a really good shot of opening. There's only one true opening number in the running, and that is Gustav from Belgium. So I will not even discuss this one with you. The rest will be a different story. Just means like, because it's all because of you. Starts really slow, and then it comes in bong, 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 and the energy keeps going and going. It's the perfect opener. And if the EBU knows what they're doing, then this is the one to choose. I don't see any other act opening at this one. Now, watch them putting Iceland first or something like that. But yeah, that would be my decision. And I will not cave. I will not cave. Now, the rest, you tell me. No. So it would make sense for the second song. And let's keep in mind, there are multiple factors that come into play here, right? Style, genre, who can stand out. Every song needs to shine. But then one thing that we cannot take into account is the staging, because some of them, you can have 3 difficult staging concepts come back to back. So I don't see Belgium going with the crazy staging. So that's why I feel comfortable. But the rest is out of our hands. So for the second number, I'm looking also at the genres that we have left. There are not really a whole lot of bangers in the first half. There are a lot of mid-tempo and ballady songs, so it's going to be quite tricky to do that. So the second one, I will say, I have 3 songs in mind. I could see them going slower with something like Estonia. I could see Iceland being put in that slot because it's not like a super ballad thing, but it's a different vibe. Or Romania. So even though but it's also a bit more upbeat. So I am struggling to come up with the right song between these. So I will ask you, who will perform in second slot? So I'll give you the option. You vote in the poll. Is it Romania? Is it Iceland? Or is it Estonia? Those are the ones that I'm thinking. Let's go. The poll's coming up any second now. And then you guys tell me. And I know some of you will say none of them. I understand that. But this is my decision, and you help me out figuring it out. So let's take a look at the poll. Oops, I almost ended it prematurely. 55% currently say Romania. It's dropping now, though. Estonia is catching up. And, oh no, this seems like a pretty obvious number. Oh no, Romania keeps dropping. Now it's going back up. So I do think some people saying Estonia 100% flow and that. The reason I hear what you're saying, but Estonia, I'm almost thinking it is one of the more what's the right word? Prominent songs, because I don't see many like clear fan favorite songs. Estonia has been very popular, so I can see them putting Estonia a little later in the running. Okay, so I do see that about half of you still think it's Romania. That's all I needed. So we are going to put Romania in second. So Belgium will open, Romania will go second. Next up, Armenia, Cyprus, Denmark, Estonia, Greece, Iceland. Now, what do you guys think? I think Iceland and Estonia are both still in contention here, but I could also see something like Greece taking the slot. I don't think Denmark or Cyprus, they're a little bit more, again, I'm not saying they're bobs in the traditional sense, but they're a little bit more energetic and upbeat. So I don't think Armenia is right for this as well. So I will put this up for a poll because I don't know. So start a poll. Who will perform in third? And then you guys tell me. Is it Iceland? Is it Estonia? Or is it Greece? If you know how to spell, that would help. And ask, tell me all. You need to tell me. And if I get it wrong when it comes out, then I'll blame all of you. Initially, I had like a preliminary list. And at first, I had Iceland second, Romania third, but I was going to flip them around. So right now, I feel as people are kind of on the same page with me, but we shall see. Vote, 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 y'all. Can't do it without you. So I see people in the chat while I'm waiting for the results. Greece, Armenia. I feel like most of the songs stand out. So I got no idea. Well, welcome to my world. Estonia third after 2 men opening. That is a very important factor as well because there are more male than female artists in the first half. So I can see that. I personally would have said Iceland probably for that reason alone. But I'll wait for a couple more votes because it's really, really close. Really, really close. Okay, so keep voting. Oh, no. Slowly, another song pulls ahead. And I'm going to give it 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Greece wins. 42% of the people voted. So I think I said I probably would have more gone for Iceland maybe, but I can see Greece making sense. But that's really just based on, male versus female here. All right, y'all. We only got 5 left. I feel as so Armenia, Estonia, Iceland. Do we get a slower song at this point? What do you guys think? So I don't think Armenia is just the right energy at this point. I just think Armenia is more of a second half entry. So I feel bad, but I will say I still think that Estonia and Iceland could be next. But who would be the third one I would pick? Okay, there's another one, I think. So, start a poll. Who will be fourth? Is it Iceland? Is it Estonia? Or I'm going to say Cyprus. And you narrow it down for me, will you? Those are the ones that I could see coming next. So, Iceland, Estonia, or Cyprus. Looking at the running order, I could see either Iceland, Estonia would be probably the most likely ones. Energy-wise, I could see certainly Estonia or Iceland working, plus female. Therefore, it stands out a little. Again, we don't know the entire setup and staging concept, so that could have a major impact. People are saying Estonia, Iceland. I voted Cyprus. Estonia because it's a ballad and they're not opening with 4 men in a row. Come on, y'all. And that is probably a very good observation there. Well, the poll is waiting. I'll give you 10 more seconds. It is a this is just such a tough one. This is such a tough one to truly predict. But time is up. Time is up. There you go. Therefore, the results are in, and Iceland, with 50% of the vote, will be song number 4. Reasonable and understandable. I knew how to type here. I hit caps lock. Okay. Iceland. There you go. All right, we got 4 left. Let's go this real quick. So now we have. It will not be Estonia. Iceland and Estonia will not perform one after another. So just by default, I'll give you Armenia, Cyprus, and Denmark. No, you know what? I don't think it'll be Armenia or Estonia. I can only see Cyprus and Denmark on this one. So I'll only give you 2 options. So who will be 5th? Will it be Cyprus or will it be Denmark? And go. Matt, would you like them to give you a Excel tutorial? I'm fine with Excel. It's not even Excel. It's Google Sheets. I just have my microphone in front of me, so I have to kind of use my hands around it. It's not the most effective way, but hey, it's just between us. So as the votes are coming in, it looks like a nail biter here. Cyprus or Denmark? Okay. I'll give you just a few more seconds. I personally would probably lean towards Denmark. I think the reason is Denmark is probably, out of those left, the most uplifting, warm song. And we've had, a little bit more of a, draggy sounds kind of like, hard, like harder, like emotional songs, less cheerful. And I think Denmark would certainly bring up the vibe a little bit. A Danish newspaper said Riley will perform 5th. They don't know that. The Danish newspaper is just guessing. No one knows yet. So don't believe them. Nevertheless, it wasn't clear, but we have 54% of people saying Denmark, and I agree with that. Denmark. There you have it. It leaves only 3 songs: Estonia, Cyprus, and Armenia. Now I'll just leave it up to y'all. Start a poll. Who will be 6? Now it's getting trickier, right? I mean, Armenia, Jesus, Armenia, Estonia, or Cyprus. Before I tell you my opinion, I would love to hear from you first. Estonia next, Albania now. Well, Albania's not ready yet. They're going to be in the second half. They're going to put 3 men after each other. They can squeeze women in between, I think. They could, Sabrina, but they've done that before. 3 is, and it's not just gender, right? They have plenty of like 3 females, 3 males in a row. So that in itself is not the only deal breaker. But they wouldn't have 4 or 5 going in a row. That's pretty sure. But 3 is still fairly normal to see. So I see the votes coming in between Armenia, Estonia, and Cyprus. And I leave it open for a few more seconds. But as of right now, I do see a I spoke too soon. I was just about to say a fairly obvious or clear winner, but those numbers are changing. Give it up for a few more seconds. Okay, keep. Wait. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So Estonia wins. I mean, wins. They didn't win anything. Was chosen. So Estonia will be next. So, and then out of those two songs, they will not have Armenia and Armenia and Estonia next to each other. So I will say Cyprus next, and Armenia will close the second half. It's not going to be a full vote. That's my decision. So Belgium opens, and Romania, Greece, Iceland, Denmark, Estonia, Cyprus, Armenia. Overall, how do you guys feel with that? I feel pretty good about it. Yes, even I myself would have flipped a few things around potentially. Like anything between 2 and 4, I feel like are almost interchangeable in certain ways. Not quite. But especially the second half, 5 to 8, I think that makes perfect sense. So let's move on to the second half. Now we need to take into consideration, let's take a look. So Australia, Austria, Poland, even San Marino, Slovenia, they're a little more upbeat, I guess, to a certain extent. So the slower songs are Albania, Lithuania is mid, I mean, and Georgia, it's not, it's, yeah. So anyways, so After Armenia is a very heavy song, right? Melodically, lyrically, and all of that stuff. So I personally think it would make perfect sense to have a more of a fun, uplifting song going after that. Even Cyprus and Estonia are not the most heartwarming like songs. You know, there's a little bit more depth to them. So I could make a case that Austria could be next, but I do think that Austria is one of the favorites. They will not put the favorite this early on in the second half. They usually put some of the favorites a little later. I actually think that Poland is a really good choice because it's very lighthearted pop. The thing is with San Marino, we don't know the final version yet. Australia may be one, but I think it may be too dramatic. Um, so all right, I will put this up for a vote. I do have an opinion, but I would love to hear from you. I know not all of your guesses will be included here, but ninth. Who will be ninth? I think Poland is a choice. I'll say Australia is a choice. And I guess I could see Slovenia. I mean, not Slovenia. I'm sorry, San Marino. Um, let's bring it up, and you guys vote. If I had to choose one of these, I still would stick with Poland only because it is the most uplifting song, and I do have a feeling that s- um, San Marino is a little bit there. It's a little bit it exists, but it doesn't really do much. Do you know what I mean? So I think it needs to be more of a game changer in this particular position. But that is just me. I'm gonna let you vote for 5 more seconds. Da, 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 da. Oh, you know what? Not needed because y'all agree with 54% of the vote. Poland is next, and I think that makes perfect sense. Now this is where it gets a little trickier. I could see now because we do have a lot of upbeat songs. I can see something a little bit more on the chill, slower side. So I'll give you 3 options based on what I think. It's going to be either Albania, Lithuania, or San Marino. So let's do that. Number 10. Is it Albania, Lithuania, or what did I just say? San Marino. Oh, your heart out. The Polish girl needs to remember her name. She doesn't remember her name. That is unfortunate. In a perfect world, Australia closes the semi. The ending of Promise is just epic. Well, I personally have 2 potential closers, but I don't want to influence you too much. But we shall see. For now, let's vote for song number 10. Okay, this is the closest one we've had so far. Doesn't look like we agree or like people agree. Number 10. Keep voting. Your vote will make the difference. Oh, slight change says one country now slightly pulling ahead. Let's see. I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end. Lithuania won in the end. At first it was like all at 33%, but Lithuania will be next in line, song number 10, according to y'all. Gosh, that caps lock is driving me crazy. Okay, so number 11. I need help with that one because I do think that Lithuania is a little in the middle. I don't always want to put San Marino there. Give me some options, y'all. People say San Marino, Australia. I'm leaning towards Australia as well right now, but I'm not certain. Plus, one thing, we got, how many bands do we have left? Albania is a band or group. Australia is one. This is a duo. San Marino is a band. Slovenia is a band. So I think San Marino, Slovenia, and Australia probably would need to be split up at some point. So let's see here. This is toughy. It's a toughie. So I'll give you these option. Number 11. And I know somebody said I can copy and paste, but it's actually easier just typing real quick because I got to look at it. So Australia, Slovenia, or Marino. Ask. This is a toughie. I really think that, they're not going to put all these bands at the end. I could see, because at this point, we've had now, like for many rounds, we didn't have like a bang or loud energy. So my personal feeling would be Australia, because I think we need like a moment. But we shall see. Give you a few more seconds. Vote while you can. Actually, you know what? I think we have the answer. Here you go. No need to. Y'all think San Marino is there. I don't know if I would have picked them, but no call. All right. So now I will not have Australia or Slovenia next. So it'll be between Albania, Austria, and Georgia. I don't know. I think Austria will be held until closer to the end. It's not going to be a closer, but I do think it's going to be later. So I'll give you 2 options, Albania and Georgia. What do you think? Number 12. I forgot what I said already. Oh, Albania and Georgia. TikTok. Go for it. I need to know. Why not Albania? That's good, I think. Well, let me also see here. So we have a mix. Well, it's mostly female lead singer with the family, male band, female duo, female singer, male band. So I think that's a good mix here, style-wise as well. Ruben, you says Greece will go 11th. They can't. They're in the first half. They can. The latest they can go is 8th. So that wouldn't work. So we're done with this one. And here are the results. Albania is the clear number 12, and I can see that happening. That means we have songs left in after. I think we need something more banger-wise, I think. So the only options we have, and I'm going to put the poll up. Start a poll. Number 13. I'm going to give you the options. Is it Australia? Is it Austria? Or is it Slovenia? I'll tell me. I don't think it's Slovenia. I think Australia would be my personal choice here right now, but I can see a case being made for Austria. I do think this would be again, we had some more like subtle songs, Lithuania, San Marino, Albania, but Australia and Austria both would make pretty big waves, I think, energy-wise. So I think those would be good choices. So we shall see. Vote, y'all. Matt, could you see EBU BBC swapping a band from second half to first half? Nope, they will not do that. They can't say, well, we need to have too many bands, we're going to move it over, and now they'll just deal with it, because that would be an outrage. That would be, then, yeah, they need to be fair. They need to be fair like that. All right, here we go. The results are in, and y'all want Australia. Oh, no, y'all, but 46% of you want Australia next. 13, Australia. So we have Austria, Georgia, and Slovenia left. I feel like I have my order, and I've been asking y'all a lot, so I will leave it as it is. I'm going to use my opinion. I think Austria will not close it. It's a little bit too much, but it would be a great moment to have 14. Georgia will be 15, and I thought from the beginning that Slovenia would be the best closer to begin with. So that's how I make that final decision. You helped me with the rest, but on this one, I feel good about it, even though we have 3 A's in a row. But I do think this would be a good, especially with genres, gender, and all of that stuff. So this is our ranking, and by our I mean mostly mine, but your involvement as well. Belgium will open the show, Slovenia will close it, and then we have a bunch of songs in between. That's our prediction / my prediction for the second semi-final. And I'm locking it in for now. I know it is difficult, but I still would love to hear some of your opinions on that one. Somebody's asking, when will they release the running order? TBD. It could be end of the month, could be in April. They've been pushing it out further and further in the past. So I would at least another 2 weeks. That could be another 4 weeks. We don't know. At some point, we'll get it, though. Because they have to look at all these, right now they're in discussions with the delegations, because they're like telling them, this is what we would like to do on stage. Use the props. Can we do it? And then they have to kind of work with that as well in the running order. So there are a lot of things that we cannot even take into consideration, unfortunately. Australia and Austria back to back confuses me. I know, right? They can't do that, actually. Maybe I should change that. So any other thoughts? Let me know. Let me know. Can we please move Lithuania to 13? Need something slower and separate Australia and Austria. That is a good point. The Australia-Austria part. That's the only thing I don't necessarily agree with. The only thing I can think of is Austria and Georgia being swapped. But then we have Austria and Slovenia. So maybe we could move Lithuania between Austria. Yeah, I see what you're saying. This is tough. This is tough. But no, you know what? I think I would actually switch. Instead of switching Lithuania, I will, even though we vote on it, but I'm overruling y'all, I'll switch Australia. Albania. How does that work? Maybe a little better? So that is possible. But then again, I don't know if San Marino and Australia would go back to back. So maybe I should switch Lithuania and San Marino. What do y'all think? Should I switch San Marino and Lithuania? That's my thinking here. Should we switch San Marino and Lithuania before I lock it in? I will not put Austria last. I don't think it's a closer. Slovenia is it's more of a closer to me. Austria is just that big moment closer to the end. All right, I'm switching. I see some yeses. We're going to make San Marino number 10. And Lithuania, I forgot, which country did I just delete? Lithuania number 11. That's my running order. Now I'm locking it in. I don't want to hear any more changes. So I'm going to post that, of course, and then we'll see how close and right we were with all of that at the end. All right. So here we go. So that was fun. I've never done that before. Doing that live is always like, no pressure. I got to do a different setup next time because again, I have my microphone here, so I have to type around it, and then I cannot hit the buttons right. Anyways, people still think Oster will close. We'll see. I just oftentimes the favorites or like the what is perceived being a fan favorite, they not put them last. They put them second to last, third to last, usually to give that big moment, and then they get other songs in. So that's why I don't think. Look at the closers in the past. They use in the semis. They're usually not like the favorite. Although you, of course, you can make a case for that as well. Some of them were more popular than I make them out to be. And I think we have a little bit of time, just a few minutes, to do our open Q&A. At ESC United in the chat, let me know if you want to talk about anything we've discussed, the two songs, the semis, and of course, anything Eurovision related. As pointed out, I will be leaving my Tuesday evening, and will arrive in Barcelona on Wednesday. I'll be at the party and parties because it's 3 nights of partying, just Eurovision. I'm super excited. And we have people also at Eurovision in concert. I won't be there in Amsterdam, as well as the London Eurovision party. So it'll be fun. And do we really have all the songs? Italy has been very silent, edited version of Due Vite or another song. At this point, it's the official song, and they would have had to change it by now. They would have had to put it in. The deadline to submit songs is over, and the EBU put forward the 37 songs in the running, and that was the song that was in the lineup. Therefore, we can be certain that it is. If they were to send another song, then the EBU would have to put forward some sort of exception. But at this point, I'm pretty sure, as I predicted all along, that this is the song for Eurovision. So I think you can take a sigh of relief. Do you think that this year is weak, mid, or strong? Well, that is, of course, very, very subjective. In some ways, I would say it's mid, but in other ways, I would say it is strong. What I will not call it is weak. I will do a comparison between 22 and 23, which year I like better, like I do every year. So I haven't really done that yet. But just on a gut feeling, I think I like this year better than last year's overall. Um, One of the things, a lot of songs this year, they're all kind of for me in the same ballpark. While in previous years, especially last year, there was a big dramatic difference between like my favorites, my mid tier, and my less liked songs. This year, it's very washy. Like my sixth place is not that far off to my 20th place kind of thing, probably. And again, I have not done a proper ranking. I usually don't. I barely have enough of guts to put a top 10 together, which I do every year, but that's about it. But I think that's what makes it a big difference to me. It's a lot less wiggle room, while in previous years, especially last year, there was like a big difference between like my 5th and my 20th place. This year, there seems to be like, depends on my mood. Do you think there will be surprise qualifiers, non-qualifiers, or surprise qualifier in semifinal one? If so, who? Well, we could, if you have a second, take a look at this together. Shall we? Let me share my screen again. Ta-da! I probably should zoom in a little. So we are on Wikipedia. In semi one, who would be the surprise non-qualifiers or qualifiers? So, and again, we don't know the running order or staging and all of that stuff. I will give you 2 surprise qualifier, and it's a very subjective thing as well, because all you have to do is beat 5 songs to be in the top 10. It's not necessarily that difficult or surprising, right? But I tell you 2 songs that I think could completely go through and people will be surprised. Croatia, I know it is very polarizing to say the least, but normies could totally just go like, wow, this is crazy, but this is fun. Let's vote this through. And I do think people overlook Malta. I do think Malta has a fair shot of going through. It's just a vibe, and I think normies will like this song more than I call them normies, the non-Eurovision folks. In terms of non-qualification, I could see a world, and I'm not saying I want this world to happen. I'm just saying I could see a world where songs like Czech Republic or Israel could miss. Um, but both of them are unlikely, I think, but it could happen. Um, Honestly, if you were to ask me, give me a guaranteed non-qualifier, it would be very difficult for me to choose a song. I think the most obvious one, like Ireland, is probably going to have the longest road ahead of them, and you can maybe even say Latvia. But yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough. Some people saying that Azerbaijan may not be guaranteed qualify. It is Azerbaijan in the end, and they almost always qualify. Even in the year where people felt they had a weak song, they still made it through, except for 2018. Now, this is a tough semi, and there are no jury. Although juries are not always, they're actually not that Azerbaijan friendly. So we will see. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking in this particular semi. I want to see some opinions in there in the chat. Ireland is a guaranteed NQ. Switzerland NQ. Switzerland could surprise. I think it's actually not a weak song, but I am not certain about it either. Ireland and Azerbaijan, I see where you're coming from. Ireland and Latvia are dead on arrival. I don't think you're wrong on that either, per se. I don't know if dead on arrival, I would go as far that, but we will see. Portugal surprised in non-qualifier, you mean? Yeah. That would be a surprise qualifier. I hope that's not going to happen, but I think it is just such a unique song. It'll make it. Azerbaijan has been saved 3 times by the jury. Oh, there you go. But they also have been drowned by the juries before, right? So we'll see. Yeah, Azerbaijan got 0 points in the televote last year. That is correct. That is correct. And that's why people were so outraged by it. And now, again, everything I'm saying right now has nothing to do with what I want to happen. Let's go to the second semi real quick and talk about the second semi is impossible, right? Because I feel like everyone is the surprise qualifier and everyone is the surprise non-qualifier. Not really, but it is a very, very open semi, I think. And if you ask me who is a guaranteed non-qualifier, I do think Albania has a long road ahead of them. San Marino has a long road ahead of them. And yeah, the rest, you can make a case they can make it. But I think Albania and San Marino would probably the most difficult one in the semi too. I am not convinced about Belgium either. And Romania has, not much vibe about it either. Now, the songs that I could see surprisingly non-qualify, you can make a case, I think, for Estonia. Quite popular, but it seems very jury friendly, and it comes down to if people will connect with it or not. But I do see a universe where Estonia is not in the finals. Austria, the people say, well, that's loved or hated, mostly loved, of course. It's a risky choice, and it could fall flat. So Austria, even though I would put Austria right now in the likely bucket, I could see universe where Austria doesn't qualify just because it's the kind of genre, the style that often flops live. But it also can have totally it's like for me the 23 version of Dancing Lascia Tombai, right? It's not, it has some nifty lyrical content on the stuff, and it's not necessarily but that's not what it's about. It's really just about the feel. So that is what I'm thinking. But I do can see universe, and other than that, it's fair game for everybody, and that would, and I think we get a better feel once we see the rehearsals and get a vibe. I would love to hear from you. Any other surprise qualifies, non-qualifies? Again, it's tough because I don't feel like there are many guaranteed, non-guaranteed ones. I see Austria could surprise NQ because people don't know the hype or lyrics. Fair, Ruben. It really comes down to the vibe, right? I didn't care about the lyrics either. People are like, it's very clever if you read between the lines. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not saying you can't. People don't go that deep into the lyrics. The average viewer's not going to be like, oh, okay, what they're talking about is how the content. No, then it's going to be like, oh, that's kind of clever, cool, and that is how far we go. So I would also not analyze it over. Surprise NQs, according to I'm Stefan, Austria, Armenia, Estonia. That's a lot of surprise non-qualifier, and surprise qualifier, Poland and Romania. Honestly, I wouldn't even consider Poland a surprise qualifier. I hear what you're saying, though. I think there's, of course, a lot of disgruntled fans, rightfully so, because I'm one of them. But if you just look at the song's own merit, it's an easy, light pop song that is catchy, and people probably like it. It's a likable song. It's not the most unique piece ever written, but I think it is just very light, fun pop, and we don't have that many on there. So I think it could gather a lot of points. So as right now, I would think Poland is. I haven't done a prediction yet, but I could see Poland being more of a likely qualifier. Now, this is a good question by Philomena. Who will win the semi? What are you nuts? You expect me to predict that yet? I think it's going to be wild. Since we don't have juries, we can only envision what the televoters would do. I don't think any song from the first semi screams televote winner. So bring back Austria into the conversation, right? Could Slovenia, which has a hype, could they actually surprise and win this whole thing? Potentially. So if I had to put money down, I think it would be a battle between Austria and Slovenia battling out for the win. But it's tough on this one, isn't it? It is really tough to. This one is going to be so. I feel like you just pick random, throw darts, and whatever it lands on, you pick. It really comes down, but it makes it fun. It's like just such a fun experience. It's like we don't know what's going to happen going in there. People screaming Armenia winner. I just don't think that Armenia has enough broad appeal for it to win. But I can see Armenia actually leaving a major mark and impact, if done right. So I think Armenia has the potential of being the most successful song in the first half, for sure. I did not like Poland, but I want her to qualify because she make me laugh so much in interviews. Ruben, I have not really seen any of her interviews yet, so I cannot speak to that. But I'm happy for whoever qualifies. It's just my personal taste anyways in certain songs, so I'm not going to run around and be like, you can't win. You are not allowed to qualify because it's not my favorite song. So I'm just switching back here real quick. Give me 2 hot seconds while I'm scrolling. Because while I screen share, my chats fell asleep. Do you think Russia and Belarus will return to the contest one day? What about Kazakhstan, Morocco, Bosnia, and so on? So those are a lot of names you're throwing out there. Let's address them one after another. Bosnia and Herzegovina, they would be back if they had the money. So I anticipate them to be back eventually once they can't pay off the debt. This is not a matter of we don't want to be part of it, but we cannot afford to be here. So my short answer is yes. Kazakhstan, I could see at some point debuting because they're doing so well in junior, and I don't know what will happen at this point. That's like a yes, but when, I don't know. Morocco, I hope so. I'm hoping for more northern country to return, but we've been saying that for 40 years now, and it's not happening. My short answer is yes, but again, I don't know when. One day. Now, Belarus and Russia, very different stories, right? I don't see that happening in the near future just because of what's going on in the world and the war that they basically started. And Belarus was banned even before that. Belarus was banned in 2021 already. Not 21, right? Yeah. So their ban was completely different. Their broadcaster hasn't been removed from the EBU, so they're not even eligible. Now, Russia is not eligible either. So this will be a long process. I don't know. The EBU will just allow them back in right away. That is the biggest hurdle for both of them. And I don't think that this particular environment that we're in, that people would respond well for them to be in the running, obviously. Even if Russia finally stops everything tomorrow, I think there is too much healing going on before this could actually happening. And once again, it does suck for the people of Russia because there are plenty of Eurovision fans who have nothing to do with this, but uh, it's a tough situation we could talk for hours and hours over. But yeah, so I don't expect them to be back in the near future. One day, I hope so. Because one thing that Eurovision is about, bringing people together through music, right? And I know it sounds like a cliche, but I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I believe still in that. And hopefully that will come to fruition. So, which acts do you think have the potential to flop in the live performance? It goes back a little bit, Lane, for what we talked about a minute ago, like the surprise non-qualifiers. Austria has a big chance of flopping. I am watching United Kingdom. Really good song, really great running order. UK, put 2022 aside. As of late, not necessarily the best track record staging and performance-wise. So I'm very nervous about that. So UK has every possibility of messing this one up. Not that I want them to, because song's fantastic, but I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous. We already know, for instance, Germany, they will be fine live. If you've seen them perform live in the national final, we know Marco from Italy can sing the roof of a building, so he'll be fine. We know Blanca can do the same thing with Spain, so I'm not worried about her. The only thing with Spain is that the song will not click with the televoters, but I expect high points from the televote juries regardless. So even if she were to flop with the televoters, she will not flop overall because she can still make up a lot of televote points. And then the semifinals we discussed. So that is what I'm thinking. Hopefully, we will get a change in the government in Turkey in May, and then we will come back to the competition. Akon, I now I don't want to always get too political here, of course, but I'm interested in politics, and my fingers and toes are crossed, of course, for you. I would love for this to come back. I guess I've been so jaded and hopeful in the past, and then just be so disappointed. Especially living in the US, you know how close it is here with everything that's going on, that I'm mentally preparing myself for the worst case scenario. But obviously, Eurovision is such a small thing compared to what the country is going through, of course. So I wouldn't just. I want leadership changes so we can be in Eurovision. Sounds so shallow, right? But I think just for the people itself, and of course for selfish reasons for Eurovision, it would be great. But yeah, there needs to be a regime change for that to happen. And we need Turkey at Eurovision. I know we always complain about, oh, the televote, blah, 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 but they bring so much to the contest, quality-wise and culture-wise, that it's not the same without them. It's not the same. Yes, the televote sometimes kind of feels unfair. I get all of that, blah, blah, blah. But I need Turkey. I need Turkey. But we all right. Oops, and I'm sorry if you don't answer every question. Feel free to repost them. Did ASC flop? What happened to Asia Song Contest? So ASC flopped big time. American Song Contest. I mean, flop big time. It certainly underperformed. It was a terrible concept and terrible format. How they did it. They didn't understand Eurovision, and of course, the numbers weren't there. And what they're saying right now, they will not broadcast the American Song Contest in 2023. They didn't do it official cancellation, so it's possible that it comes back the following year. I would not hold my breath. I'm hoping that somebody else will pick it up at some point, but I don't think it's going to happen in the near future. Europe has been around a long time as well, but Eurovision has been around a long time. And it grew into the contest that it is right now. Even in the beginning stage of Eurovision in the 1950s, it wasn't exactly what it is right now. It took time to really grow. And I don't think America has really taken advantage of this idea. It needs to be approached in that manner. You cannot expect putting a new concept that has never been used in America and immediately become a big success. But that's just how it goes. Capitalism and ratings in America, you don't deliver right away, you're gone. So ultimately, I would not hold my breath, but I also wouldn't give up hope completely. Asia Song Contest was in the making for years, and the Australian broadcaster was like kind of in charge. But was it like a year ago already? They dropped it and they said we're no longer going to do it. So as of right now, Asia Song Contest is dead. Somebody mentioned that they actually updated the website for the first time in years, but I wouldn't read too much into it either. I'm sure there's still some works behind the scenes, But even if that were to happen, we are talking years out. So nope, I don't think that's going to happen in the near future. But I'm holding out hope in the future. So, do you think do you think Georgia has a chance of winning? Aim Eurovision is a very, very high bar. And I wouldn't say that it screams winner at me, but it screams top 10 at me if it's done right. I do think that the song itself is a very out of the box experimental song that may not work for everyone. And I think in order to win Eurovision, you need to become a little bit more, I wouldn't call it mainstream because they have non mainstream songs that have won, but you need to have more of a broader appeal. And I don't know if Georgia has that. At the same time, it has all the ingredients to do really well with the juries and get good amount of televote support as well. I mentioned it earlier in my reaction that I think change the lyrics to the English lyrics aren't good. That's basically what I'm saying. So, but I do think that Georgia can do really well. But winning may be a little bit of a stretch, but it's still a good song nevertheless. Alexa winning might have hurt the contest because the song wasn't the radio-friendly pop track smash success that Dave might expected to come out of it. I don't know. Would have been there be a better choice though? I don't think that that was the issue. It was completely just the ratings, not the airplay, not anything else. When you look at the numbers, we even like the premiere had like a little bit more views, but it went down and down every episode. So you can have a smash hit, but if the ratings and the numbers aren't there, the broadcast was like, I don't care about if it sells well. If it's not bringing us the numbers, we're gonna not do it. So, and that's more than anything. The song, it's more likely for a song to flop in the charts, but still does well in the ratings. That's when the contest will return. The other way around is probably not as significant. I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all, but it's not as dramatic as you may think. Do you think, oops, that was the wrong one. This is the one I wanted. Do you think change staging could affect Sweden's winner chance? Well, here's the thing. I was never there. I was never there saying it's a winner. I mean, I saying it's a potential winner, but it's not a guaranteed winner in my book. That being said, SVT and Sweden, they know how to stage it. And even if they cannot bring along this really, really big screen that comes from the ceiling, they'll find an alternative. Maybe just a sheet, but the effect, a projection, you can still do that. The problem is also anything coming down from the ceiling that's going to descend from the ceiling is a big issue. As we pointed out, even in 2019, Duncan Lawrence's little tiny light ball, that was already a struggle. So having a big thing like that, it would be an issue. But whatever they come up with, it's going to be visually appealing and great. And let's be real here. The staging isn't the only thing that makes the song strong, right? It is the song is catchy and fun and people gravitate towards it. Lorraine's interpretation and the way she sings it, really a lot of people gravitate towards it. So I think it'll do fantastic regardless. I just never considered it as a safe or guaranteed winner. I think that I'm not convinced yet that Sweden will win the televote. I can say universe, though, where Sweden wins the jury vote by a large margin and drags it up enough to win it overall. That's where I'm at right now. But yeah, the staging, we shall see about that. Scroll. Thoughts on San Marino revamp? I don't know. So they are saying there is going to be a revamp because, San Marino only had that national final with really met quality. So it's almost like the hardest song to judge. Honestly, I don't even dislike the song at all. I think there are songs that are further down in my ranking than San Marino. It's not the strongest of its genre, and I think it just doesn't have a proper hook to really get me excited. And I think they had better choices in the national final. But overall, it was a weak national final anyways, even though they had over 100 songs. Sometimes less is more, right? And I think in San Marino, that was the case. Nevertheless, maybe they also sometimes we get these revamps that just blow us away. It doesn't happen a whole lot, but I remember 2013 Belgium Robert song, Love Kills. The studio version, the original demo one was like, oh my god, they're gonna come dead last. And then I hit the revamp. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So that's one of the few occasions where that happens. So maybe San Marino can pull something similar for me. So we shall see. Do you remember, if you want to talk to me, at ESC United? What do you think about Germany being so high in the polls at Eurovision World and Wee Wee? I have no idea where they are. um, the song is pretty popular. That's what I know, and it has a lot of fans. A lot of the more alt rock fans and heavy metal supporters, they gravitate towards that one, of course. You can make a case maybe it's just fans of the band or Germans voting for their own country. However, one thing you can say about Germans, at least, as much as they suck at Eurovision or have been in the past, you don't see them going to polls and voting up their country, because Germany has almost always been at the bottom, or just somewhere lower on the lower end when they didn't have popular songs. You don't see like this disproportionate representation of them. So for Germany, I am not sure why that's high. Maybe people like it better than we think. I know that Lord of the Lost has a decent amount of fans, but again, do they really go out of their way and go to a random Eurovision website to vote in a poll that doesn't really matter in the end? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So I wouldn't overthink it anyways, because I do know Armenia usually gets a lot of votes in polls. They do often really well, even though if there is not the hype there. And there are other countries there as well, of course. I didn't mean to just point them out, of course. Do you think the Big Five will escape the bottom five for the first time since 2004? So that would be interesting. I even have looked back how far back it is. So it's 2004 was the last time the Big Five, none of the Big Fives were in the bottom five. I think there is potential for that to happen. It would also be the first time since 2013 that a semifinalist comes last, if that were to happen, right? The last time a semifinalist came last was in 2013 with Ireland. And back then we had a very strange and non-transparent voting system. But since 2014, when we had that new transparent setup and, the 50-50 proper setup, it's always either a Big Five country or direct qualifier that ended up last. So just history and, tells us we're going to have a last place from the Big Five or the direct qualifiers. That being said, this is the first year also in many, many years where no song from those acts are like disliked or have a lot of negative opinions. Yes, some people don't care for the German song, right? It's just not their kind of music, but it has a lot of support as well, and it certainly fits a niche. You can make the same case for some of the other songs. But the only one I could potentially see is Ukraine coming in the bottom five if the song doesn't come across right. Ukraine people, you can make a case there will be some sympathy votes. That's why I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, the song to me is not even that bad. I think I kind of like it. But they also have the tradition of coming low when they didn't semi-host it right now, but when their direct qualifiers happened before in 2005 and 2017 when they actually flopped for the most part. Could it happen again this year? I don't think so. But out of all the songs, this would be actually almost be the one that seems most logical to me. At the same time, the Big Five, Germany could come really dead last with the juries. I could see happening. They come like bottom 2 or 3 with the juries, and then underperforms with the televoters, like at 18th or 20th place. That could be enough, really, just to keep them in there. And as said, UK makes me nervous. Because we've seen them many times having like fairly popular songs, and then the staging comes along and then they drown. So UK is still on my radar of flopping, but I hope not. I'm not saying I want them to. I'm just thinking that could happen. That's my opinion. Here we go. We got a few more minutes. Is it possible that we as fandom are just so happy that Germany is just doing anything and manifesting a better finish for them, but the song could still end at lower, the right half? I'm not convinced that Germany is on the left side of the scoreboard, but I do see a likely outcome that Germany is on the left side of the scoreboard with the televoters. So if they come on the left side with the televoters, the odds of them coming in the bottom 5 decreases significantly. And that's my only thing. So Germany has the potential to underperform with the juries, but I just don't see them completely flopping with the televoters. It's just too out there, and it has a good amount of hype, and it certainly fills a niche. The metalheads, they will vote for that one. They'll have other options, of course, I think, but it is probably one of the most hardest sounds this year, and they are a true like metal inspired band. So, and they have a fan base around the world, or like at least around the continent. So I and hear what you're saying because we all want Germany, myself included. I mean, as a German, I want them to like do even better. But I do think there is absolutely a niche, and I don't think it's the least likely flop of the big five, in my book. Um, there was one question I saw that I really wanted to answer. Matt, what do you think about the UK being selected as the closer of the ESC final? Um, I will say this. I mean, first of all, it's probably a good song to close it. Putting aside that it's the host nation, I think the last time the host nation closed the show was in 2001, right? When Denmark closed the show as they were hosting it. Yeah, I don't think that since then it's been over 20 years since that happened. I think it's a great song to close it, right? It's energetic, it's fun, makes sense. The fact that the host nation, I think it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of weird. Ukraine, they're going to be in 19th position. I'm not a big conspiracy kind of guy, right? But let's start a conspiracy. Why is it that almost every single year, when the host nation is drawing their running order randomly in the pot, they almost always get a great result, like second half. I think the only time it didn't happen is in Portugal. It's like, oh, it's just so weird to me. Now it's 1926. Netherlands had a great running order. I mean, to be fair, Italy wasn't that great, I guess, but still, they never never the first five. So I wonder if there's like a number they cannot go lower. They want to have the host nation too early. I don't know. It just seems odd to me that this never ever happens. While the other way around, it happens all the time. But that is just my conspiracy head going a little cray. There's one more question, and my chat doesn't want to play along right now. Thank you, Lee Fern, for the super chat supporting us. Good evening. Another fantastic show. I can see Germany getting the best results since 2018 with Michael Schulte. Good luck, Matt. Thank you. It would be nice, right? Again, for Germany, a good result would already mean not in the bottom five, but I do think Germany has potential to go higher as well. So we shall see. Matt, who do you think may get 12 points from the international voting? So I got to drink something real quick. This answer to me has been the same ever since the song was selected. At this point, you have to convince me. It takes a lot of convincing, I should say, to tell me that Finland is not going to win the televote. As popular Sweden is, Finland will just bring the house down. It is not talking about the juries, talking about the televote, and the international vote will be televote, right? Or online vote, whatever. At this point, I just don't see any other country beating that. So I will say Finland will win the international vote. You can make cases because certain countries are geared more towards, like, for instance, the South American countries could vote for Spain, right? That's a lot of thinking. So Spain has a good shot at winning as well. I think you can make a case there. And because they're actually following Eurovision quite a bit. So Spain is probably going to do really well in the international voting. But this is also the first time. We don't know who will vote. And it is just going to be a little unexpected. Plus, there are also countries that usually are in Eurovision and are not taking part. Turkey. Eurovision is still watched a lot. Are the Turkish viewers voting for Azerbaijan? So there are so many things that could happen, and I cannot wait to see the results. It's fun to have it, and it's not that big of an impact because we're talking about one set of votes, but it makes a big impact in people getting excited. Being involved actively in the contest, that what gets people to watch the contest. So I think that was the best idea the EBU had in a long time, without making it too giving them too much power, but still keeping them involved. Of course, if the international vote will make a difference about a qualifier, people will cry about that. But I think this is a very fair thing to do. So I am very much in favor of that. Matt, do you think we should go back to a placement draw rather than the first half, second half draw? I've been always, it's not going to happen again. So it's a fun conversation to have. I'm a big proponent of fairness, and the running order done by producers is never going to be fair. Even if people say, well, it's just, it's an entertainment show. You need to make sure it flows. I get all of that. But you cannot deny that there has been some favoritism towards certain countries. And even if it's not favoritism, it can be perceived as favoritism, and perception is reality, as they say. So why are certain countries more often than not get more favorable running orders and others get always put in a less convenient slot? And it is a competition, and the draw at least is fair. Even if you get similar styles, genres in a row, at least it was the luck of the draw and not producers deciding what is right. And that's how I feel usually about it. So yes, I would get rid of it, but I know they're not going to do it because it's Oops. Sometimes the chat moves too fast and I click on the wrong one. But that's, since I brought it up, Karel, I would draw them in different quarters. I think I would like that, at least, because it gives them less wiggle room and it seems a little bit more fair. But I do know the EBU will not agree to that. As a matter of fact, there have been comments before that they wish they could not have first and second half draw anyways. They can just decide from first to last. And I think it is more likely for that to happen than the other way around. That is at least my observation. If Ukraine won this year, what country do you think would get to host? I think that would, if Ukraine were to win this year, I think that would go down exactly what they did last time. Whoever comes second, they will give them the first right. And I know they don't technically have to do it, but they know it's just the most fair thing to do. So whoever comes, let's say Sweden comes second, then yes, I probably would talk to Sweden and ask them and see if they're willing to do it. Do they have the capacity? And with Sweden, it's obviously a pretty obvious thing. Of course, they would do it. But if it's, let's say, Moldova comes second, I think they would talk to them first. Moldova may be a little tricky again because, Russia and all that stuff. But I don't know. But I think on paper, yes, they would pick whoever comes second next. And it's only fair. It's only fair. Although I don't expect the country to win this time around. Currently, we have a lot more serious topics to talk about because the election is coming. Oh, you're talking about Turkey right now? Yes. That is absolutely right. And I know it's not the only country that has elections coming up. So good luck to you. Why do you think the second slot in the running order hasn't won as yet? Should they put Sweden here to break the hoodoo? That would be nice. Not nice. That would be cool because, Sweden has a good chance of winning, of course. The reason the second position hasn't won yet is, well, it depends. So you have to look at it from different perspective. This, in the past, until 2013, of course, it was random. And until 1996, we only had jury votes. Jury voters, less to a certain extent than the televoters, they are less impacted by the running order. It was probably just really the fact that the right song didn't finish in a second running order. Because we had 3 winners from the first spot, right? And we had a winner from the third, but never from the second. It's just, I think, a matter of, they were never drawn into the second position. We would have to go back in time and look at all the songs in the second slot from 1957 to 1996 and see, could they have won if they would have performed, let's say, last or whatever. And I remember doing that a few years ago, and I just don't think that it was just the luck of the draw. Starting in 1997, slowly, we had the televote, and televote traditionally favor songs that perform later. So from that point on, it became a little bit more difficult. Turkey did it in 2003 to get a win from the 4th position, but just by 1 or 2 points, right? When that song arguably should have won by a lot more. Then starting 2013, where the running order is completely decided by the producers, we will probably never have a second slot winner again because they put songs in there that were just like there in the semis, didn't make a major impact, or at least the perception is it did not. That's why we had Albania now 2 years in a row before. Then we had Romania. There is a reason why these songs end up in second spot, because they're not considered a threat per se. They're the sacrificial lambs. So up until that point, we had just not the right song in the second slot. And from now on, it'll never happen again, because they would never put Sweden or Finland or any of the songs in the second slot. It was already outrageous when they put Malta in 21 in sixth slot, right? That was a big dramatic decision there, because you just flop big time when you're too early. There's like always this cutoff time where once you like once you're like 10 and up, you're fine, but before that, it's just historically not a good place to be, unfortunately, in the televote only. Jury vote is a little different. Ukraine should have performed last year, just to break the stigma, wasted opportunity. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they knew though that there was a lot of hype about Ukraine, and this wouldn't have, then they would have been accused of being anti-Ukraine. So it's probably also a political decision. It's a tough place to be in. I don't fault them for giving them a favorable ranking. And yes, Ukraine would have won regardless. That is a very fair thing to say, but I still think it would have looked a little odd if they would have put them in second. There would have been accusations, absolutely. But one day maybe, but I don't see it happening. I think the second position will always be the one that'll never win. So you'd rather want to be first than second, I guess, right? But yeah, that's why I don't like the running order determined by the producers, for that exact reason. All right, everyone. As pointed out, I'll be back mid next week for some reporting on site in Barcelona. I will be at the festival in Barcelona pre-party. We have several acts from this year, but also former acts, and I will be there I cannot live stream the concert, of course, but some of the happenings that are going on. So make sure to subscribe so you know what's going on. And thank you for watching again, and I will see you in a few days. Okay? Thank you, and goodbye.